thought I'd maybe set the tone with a bit of a morning pop quiz, just to kind of get your neurons firing. Might be a little bit heavy, but I just want you to think about these questions here for a second. So here we go. This is kind of a yes or no answer. Okay, so think deeply about this. Here's the question. Do you think it's wrong that 50,000 people die every day from poverty? Now think about that. It's a big number. Do you think it's wrong that a child dies of poverty every 3 seconds? Do you think it's strange and perplexing that people don't talk about this on buses, at parties, or at work? That no one says, have you heard? 8 million people will die this year unnecessarily? That's about the population of Ontario every year dying of poverty in the world unnecessarily. 3 people can be attacked by a lion on the loose at a zoo somewhere, and it makes worldwide headlines. But 8 million people will die, and we don't really talk about it. It's just kind of one of those things that, is kind of unspoken, unsaid. Have you ever sat at home and turned on the channel, one of those fundraising documentaries came on, but because you felt you couldn't really make a difference, so you're sitting at home and one of those fundraising documentaries comes on, you just turn the channel. Does that ever happen to you? Because you feel that you just can't make a difference? Or maybe there's that skepticism about whether the money really gets to the kids? Does that ever happen? So those are all yes or no answers. Okay, so just think about that. Now, did you answer yes to any of those questions? That's really the key. Did you answer yes to any of those questions? And if you did, you're like most people, right? It's normal to answer yes. But here's a real question for you. What if there was a way that one individual could actually make a difference in the lives of thousands of children? What if? What if that was really possible? Okay, we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to share some pretty exciting thoughts, dreams, and visions. And I hope that you're going to catch that vision over the course of this morning. I'd just like to share with you in the next few minutes WSI's vision specific to ending child poverty the world over. And that's a pretty big statement. I mean, and you've seen here what's happening locally, the ability to join together with the firefighters to make a difference in the water project. And we'll continue to work together with them in Ventanilla and others in communities around the world. But what if there was a way to make a massive impact on world poverty and make the world a better place? It's a big question. What if there was a way that one person could actually make a difference in the lives of thousands of children? You know that feeling of helplessness that I felt looking at the television and saying, what can I do? What if I was empowered to feel that I, one person, you, one person, could literally impact hundreds and thousands of children? Now, ready to really expand your thinking? Think about this one. What if there was a way for corporations to profit from helping make child poverty history? That's a little bit outside the box thought, right? Well, listen to what I'm going to say in the next few minutes about how that can actually happen. I mean, if there was a way where corporations could profit from that, do you see how that could spread like wildfire around the world? And we could make a difference, right? It just starts to grow, and we'll talk about that. And first of all, I'll give you a little bit of background. In May 2004, the board announced that they wanted to launch an outreach program. We wanted to reach out to the village of Ventanilla, Peru. And by April 2005, WSI had completed our sponsorships in Ventanilla. As a result of all of our sponsorships, there were no additional children to be sponsored. We finished off the whole village sponsoring every eligible child in Ventanilla. In May 2005, that vision was expanded just this last spring. I was in Washington, D.C., meeting with Paul Wolfowitz, who was just appointed the president of the World Bank. And he challenged me to make a difference. You know, he shared some shocking statistics with me. He mentioned that today in Europe and North America, we spend $2 a day subsidizing the average cow. Agricultural subsidies result in us as taxpayers spending about $2 a day on every cow. We spend less than half of that, less than half of what we spend to support every cow through subsidies alone. We spend less than half of that to support the poor, the children that are dying. He talked about the fact that that every 3 seconds, somewhere in the world, a child is dying. And that I was shocked by that statistic. As we sat here in this room, many children have died. As I complete a sentence, a child has died. And I started to ask myself about, it was almost surreal. The question I asked earlier about, don't you think people should be talking about this? It seems so surreal. And he left me with a quote by Nelson Mandela, a really powerful thought. He said, it's not the kings and the generals who make history, but it's the masses of the people. And that night in the hotel room, I lay awake in bed, and all I could hear was it was like the sound of a dripping faucet echoing through my mind. It was resonating, and it got louder. And within a short while, it had amplified to the sound of a drum beat, of a marching band, a drum pounding. And then all of a sudden, as I thought about Nelson Mandela's words, not the kings and generals who make history, but the masses of people. It came to me. The masses of people. There has never been in the history of the world a vehicle so powerful for harnessing the power of the masses of people as the internet. Never before has there been the ability to propagate an idea around the planet as powerfully and rapidly as through the internet. And so that laid out a vision. I got up and I started feverishly scratching out a plan, which I'll share a few thoughts with you in the next few minutes, laying out a plan for how literally utilizing the internet we could make child poverty history in this world. It all starts with an idea. And so the vision was to make child poverty history through a campaign that will act as a catalyst to raise millions of dollars from corporations and individuals, resulting in the sponsorship. And by that, we don't just mean food. We mean food, clothing, housing, education, medical, and the support of the families of tens of thousands of children in developing nations around the world. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that by utilizing the power of the internet. Corporations will be better positioned to leverage their charity dollars in terms of their PR, their public relations, and SEO ranking, and search engine optimization ranking. And individuals will be empowered with innovative tools to assist them in the recruitment of more corporate and individual participants. Okay, so talking about a big vision, here's the how we're going to do it. And I'm going to get a little bit technical in the next 3, 4, 5 minutes. And if search engine optimization doesn't mean a whole lot to you, then don't worry about it. But the point is, what I'm talking about is what's in it for them. What's in it for corporations to sponsor a child. And if we can create something that's in it for them, this thing will spread like wildfire. So the concept is simple. We're aligning people and companies. Every child that an individual sponsors out there, WSI has already said that we will match that sponsorship. And as we align with other corporations to do the same thing, for every child that's sponsored by an individual, 2 children will be fed, housed, clothed, educated. The Make Child Poverty History website will inspire both individuals and corporations to take action. So here's a snapshot of how it works. We've got the Make Child Poverty History website, which we already have kind of the interim site up. Just check it out at www.makechildpovertyhistory.org. And basically, as the next phase gets launched, and this is going to take some time to develop, and we already have a committee that is already privy to this whole plan, and I'm going to encourage you today, one of the things I'm going to leave you with is to join the committee. If what we've talked about today inspires you, there'll be subcommittees put in place to execute these various tasks. WSI is not a charity. We're a business. We're a business that's making a big difference out there through what we do. But the work that this committee has done is not stuff that they do in business hours. This is something that we're all doing after hours or in addition to our business of running a company. But as a result of that, we're going to change the world. So when we look at, there's 3 basic parts to the website. Number 1, there's an area that talks about personal child sponsorships, how an individual can sponsor a child, and as a result of that, how they can squeeze money out of corporations to do the same. Right? If we knew that every time we were sponsoring a child, we were getting another company to sponsor one too, that would encourage us larger. Then there's a section here on corporate child sponsorships. Okay? And then there's the section here on on how people can join us and make this campaign grow. Now, underneath here, you'll see a little video camera here. That's a webcast. Each one of these categories has a webcast that explains the vision and how people can get involved. So people really don't have to talk about it, explain it. The web's going to do it all. The presentation's going to be online, short 6-minute presentation of each of those things. As a result, we hope that individuals will sponsor children. And we hope that corporations will sponsor children as a result of going to the website because of the compelling story and the compelling offer that they'll learn about on that website. So what's in it for companies? How do they profit from sponsoring children? Pretty bold concept, pretty bold statement. Well, first of all, there's a sense of contribution and giving back. Right? Corporations already do that today. It's something that makes them feel good and makes them appear and represent themselves as responsible corporate citizens. But in addition to that, increased search engine ranking. Right? When you go to Google to search for something, if you're searching for medical equipment, if you're searching for paper supplies, school supplies, whatever, obviously the companies that appear up on the top of those search engines are the ones that get all the activity. And there is a whole industry, which we at WSI know quite well because we do this, there's a whole industry helping companies get themselves up to the top of those search engines. And because companies on that first page on the search engine results can make thousands, tens of thousands, and millions of dollars in selling their goods and services because they're up near the top of the search engines. Everybody with me? Now, what the heck's this got to do with child poverty? We're talking about search engines. Well, we're uniquely positioned to recognize this opportunity because this is what we do. And thirdly, and I'll talk about that second point in a second, but thirdly, great public relations. Their customers will see their participation in the program and the results. And you're going to see how that really escalates in a couple of minutes. So how does a better search engine ranking work? I talked about why this is important, because the higher companies rank in Google and Yahoo and Alta Vista and all the MSN and all those search engines, the higher they rank, the more money they make. It's just that simple. Link popularity significantly impacts ranking. What that means is a company like WSI, we have a page rank 7 with Google. So if you go online to Google and you type in WSI, you're going to find out that we have a page rank 7. There's only a few thousand websites in the world. Out of the billions of pages online, there's only a few thousand websites in the world with a page rank 7 or higher. So WSI has one of the highest traffic websites in the world right now on the internet. So we have a very popular website. Google knows that. Any websites we link to from our website get the benefit of our high page ranking. So keep that thought in mind for a second. The more sites that link to your site, the higher your ranking. So if you're ABC Construction and you have 100 other websites linking to you, so websites that put on their website, you know, it might be the local Chamber of Commerce that says, for construction, go to ABC Construction. That's a link. And they put a hyperlink to that website. Every one of those hyperlinks that go to your website as a company increase your ranking. So when you go into Toronto and you type in looking for construction supplies, construction supplies, the company that is ranked highest probably has the most links to their page. Does that make sense? So companies want links to their pages. And they want links from high page rank companies. So the more links and the higher the page ranks of the companies that are linking to you, the higher you'll appear in the search engines. It's just that simple. So the higher the quality of those links, the higher your ranking. So, and this is where you can tune out, by the way, if you're not really not following what I'm saying on the search engines. Just take my word for it. WSI is the #1 internet organization in the world. We know the internet, okay? But I'm just going to explain this. This is going to take me like 2 minutes here. If you take a look at here, I already shared with you, this is the Make Child Poverty History website. On our website, we have a list of all the companies that are helping to make child poverty history. Every one of the links from this site benefits those companies. It will help their search engine ranking because that site there is linked to WSI, and WSI is a page rank 7. So this is quickly going to be a high page rank, and that page rank will spill down to all of these companies. So just by being part of our campaign and sponsoring some children, these companies will automatically start to rise up in the search engines. Does that make sense? See what I'm saying here? Now, this is where it gets even more neat. What if a company doesn't want to just sponsor one child? They want to sponsor 3 children. Well, as a result of that, the more children they sponsor, the higher their rankings. Because we can say that they are now a silver sponsor because they have sponsored 3 children. And now, we're not only going to link our site to all of their sites, to their individual site, okay, because we link right to this silver sponsored site, we will now start linking the other sites to that as well. So now, instead of just that one link into their site, now they're getting multiple links. And as you can imagine, they go up higher in the search engines. Where might we go from this? Someone becomes a gold sponsor and sponsors 5 or 6 children. The committee will decide on exactly what these parameters are, but all of a sudden, they're a gold sponsor. Now all the other sites are linking into them. The bottom line is companies out there today are spending $5,000, $10,000 a month on optimizing their position in the search engines. By sponsoring 10 children for $400, $350 a month, they can get the same kinds of benefits that they could through spending massive dollars on search engine optimizers. The result of this, it costs us nothing. It doesn't cost anything. This is just Google working the way Google works. But at the end of the day, children are fed. Now, do you see how that's a compelling offer to companies? You sponsor a child, you sponsor a few children, and all of a sudden you're going to get better search engine ranking. Do you see how that concept could spread across the world like wildfire if corporations really knew that this was possible? In addition to that, every one of our sponsors, everyone who sponsors a child, and when I say sponsoring a child, what that means, we don't sponsor children, okay? We're a conduit, a catalyst. We, through the website, will channel them off to World Vision and other partner agencies in different parts of the world because they've got the feet on the street. They're the ones that are in those local areas that can make a difference. But we provide each one of these partners who sponsors children with a page on their website that talks about how, that advertises their participation, and this is really neat. Think about this. We also, on their page, put a list of all the children that have been sponsored as a result of their participation. Now you might think, okay, well they're sponsoring 5 people, so it says 5. No. What about the people that came to their website and saw the link on the bottom of their website that says we're helping make child poverty history, and clicks on that and comes into our website and then sponsors children? All those become added to their numbers. So they start off with the 5 that they sponsor. But over time, that starts to grow. 7, 10, 12, 18, 15, 25. Even though they've only personally sponsored 5 at their company, within months and by the end of the year, that number could be 175 children sponsored as a result of their participation in the program. Does that make sense? And that's right on their website. Now you're starting to see how the power of the internet can be harnessed. So we've talked about how it's great PR for these companies. So yes, it drives them up in the search engines, but it's also huge PR for them. How will companies find out about this program? Well, here's the magic of the internet. Because in the beginning, I talked about 3 main sections. This third section, join us and help make child poverty history. How many people remember back to the heady days of the .com era where we could go to a website and click on a link, and every time we went to that website, it fed the children a cup of rice? Do you remember that website? Way back when? Okay, where there were millions and millions of visitors every day coming to this website, clicking on it, because every time they went there, advertisers popped up, and as a result, it fed children. How many people saw, I'll give you another example. How many people remember the dancing baby thing that was on the internet? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, that thing spread around the world as a result of viral marketing. It spread around the world in days. Everybody was on CNN. Everybody'd seen that funny little video of a dancing baby. Well, that's the way the internet works. If you're interested in an idea and you send it to 3 people, and they send it to 3 people, and they send it to 3 people, within days, hours, it spreads around the world. So what we need is campaign fundraisers. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if we call them advocates, if we call them fundraisers, if we call them, I don't know. But the point is, they're just people that are sending these compelling webcasts off to local companies in their area saying, look, here's a way that you can get better search engine rankings and help us feed the world. Individuals will send the webcast to local companies. And here's where it's really neat. And this circles back to what I started with. Imagine if those individual fundraisers had a page that actually tracked how many kids were sponsored as a result of their involvement in the program. Okay, now all of a sudden you send an email to a company that gets involved. They sponsor 5 children. People come into their website, and now they sponsor. Well, let's just take a look at the numbers real quick. Individual efforts can result in the sponsorship of thousands of children. Let's just say we started off with 100 campaign fundraisers. And let's say each one sends out a few emails here and there every couple of days. And as a result of that, there's just 1 company a month sponsors a child. Or let's say they sponsor 3 children. Each company sponsors 3 children, because that's when the search engine rankings really start going up. That's 3,600 children sponsored in 1 year. Year 2. Let's say now that all these sites are online, every one of these companies is advertising their part of the program, and all the traffic's going through the websites, and people are, just regular web surfers, are seeing the little link on the bottom and going to the website, and people are joining. Let's say each fundraiser's efforts result in 1 new fundraiser every month. So now you're not just getting a company involved, but because of your activities, somebody joins as a fundraiser too. Now we have, at the end of year 2, we have 1,200 fundraisers. Each brings on 1 company a month, 14,400 new companies. Each sponsors 3 children. Now we have 43,000 children sponsored. Now, at the end of 2 years. Year 3, nothing changes. Exact same thing, but look at the exponential power of it. We're now talking 130,000 children at the end of year 3. And that's not counting all the personal sponsorships. That's just the corporate sponsorships. And at the end of year 4, we're over 1 million children. Okay? Now that's just using the power of the internet. All right? And that's just growing. Thousands of sponsorships from individuals. So when we talked earlier, just to bring it around full circle here, we talked about what if 1 person could literally make a difference in the lives of hundreds or thousands of kids. Well, if you take a look at the number of fundraisers and the number of children sponsored, you will realize that there will be champion fundraisers out there that have resulted in thousands of children being saved as a result of the Make Child Poverty History Possible program. Oh, by the way, just on a side note, is this possible? I mean, it sounds like a bit of a pipe dream, doesn't it? I mean, this is big numbers, millions of children. You know, this is very topical. We just had the G8, or the Live 8 thing with the G8 summit. You know, there's a lot of talk about ending poverty in the world today. Dr. Jeffrey Sachs here, he's a professor of international trade at Harvard, special advisor to the United Nations, featured in Economist magazine, Time magazine. He's got a book, it's hot, you can buy it out there anywhere today, The End of Poverty. This guy is not just, you know, talking about let's all give some money. He's talking about true economic possibilities. He's analyzed it and he says, yeah, it's possible to end poverty in the world within our lifetime. In fact, Time magazine took this whole concept and this past March featured it on the cover, How to End Poverty. They talked here about how 8 million people die each year because they're too poor to stay alive. So why WSI? Just in conclusion here, I mean, why are we uniquely positioned to change the world with partners in cities and countries across the globe? First of all, we have global representation. We're in 87 countries around the world with over 1,500 internet consultants. We have the search engine optimization expertise. So what we're talking about here, we are uniquely qualified and specialized to understand. There's only a few thousand websites in the world with a PR7, with a PageRank 7, with Google. So we're going to take that asset that we have, that unique capability, and we're going to spill it all over all these other corporations who want to participate and join us. We have the backing of the board of directors. I'll just share with you that at a recent board meeting, when this was brought forward, the board was asked, what happens if this thing really takes off? I mean, right now, WSI is the only sponsor, corporate sponsor, and if we're going to match every sponsorship, you know, this could be tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. The board made a commitment and said that for the first year, they were willing to set aside up to $1 million, if that's what it took. The board was willing to match dollar for dollar child sponsorships up to that level. We've turned visions into realities before. The concept of WSI was just an idea and then became the #1 internet franchise organization in the world with a team of people. We believe it can be done, and most importantly, we believe it should be done. And that's why I feel that WSI is uniquely positioned to make this happen. So just in closing, what can you do today? Well, first of all, you've already done a lot of things. I mean, we've seen these fundraising activities around the office happening over the last while to help out with the water project. Before that, we've been doing fundraising for a long time. What I'd like to do, could I get all the committee members just to stand up on the outreach program committee? Just stand up. I know you're out there in the audience. Come on, stand up. Let's give these people a hand. And I know, if you could actually all come up here, because I think there's a little something special that you'd like to hand out. The committee headed by Marinella and everyone else, come on up here. I know you have a little special gift you'd like to hand out. By the way, this is the team of people that have been involved, yes, in all the fundraisers, organizing events like this, writing the copy to the website, the graphics, the coding, the design, to the Make Child Poverty History website. And so there's been a lot of time, and most of it put in after hours on their own time because, again, WSI is not a charity. We want to make a difference in the world, and these people are all part of making it happen.
Thank you. Actually, this check was raised by the committee with the help of all of our colleagues at WSI just in the last month, pretty much. We had lunches, we had jewelry making sessions, and this fundraising will continue from here out. And if you want to initiate your own fundraising initiative, please feel free. In the last month alone, we raised $2,000 for Captain Al and the Water Project. And I would like to ask Captain Al to come and receive the check. This is from everyone.
Thank you very much. I've had this great pleasure to meet with this team, and I can say that this group of people really are going to make a difference. They already have. On behalf of the team, I'd like to thank you so much for taking the leadership to help us to be able to bring clean water into the community of Ventanilla, Peru. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. So what else can you do today? Well, at the back of the room, there's white wristbands, like this one. You've probably seen, it's under here somewhere. I can't quite get it out. But you've seen people wearing them around the, yeah, they look like that, Ryan. Exactly, like this. Get a wristband at the back. With a donation, you get a wristband. And wear them around the office. People are going to ask you what it's all about. It says right on the wristband, makechildpovertyhistory.org. Send them to the website. It all starts there. Sponsor a child. We've got children at the back that can be sponsored. Let's add to our wall. Let's add to our sponsorships. Remember, every child that you sponsor, we will sponsor one corporately as well. If you can't sponsor one child, get together with 2 or 3 or 4 people as part of your team and sponsor a child together. It's still going to result in 2 children being sponsored because we're going to match that as well. So make a contribution to the water project, right? A one-time contribution. This is, once it's done, this is going to be there in that village for years and years to come. So it's not something we need to do every day. Make a contribution if you can today. Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate my suggestion. If this has at all inspired you at all today, if this has resonated with you, join the committee. We need people. This is not going to happen. This could take 6 months, 9 months to really roll out across the world, but we need people. So join the committee. Speak to Marinella, the head of the committee, and whether you're on the main committee or a subcommittee that's tasked to develop a component to this campaign, we need many hands make small work. So join the committee as well. And I'll just leave you with that one last thought that inspires me when I think about this program, and that's this. First of all, it starts with, millions and millions of children. That's great. We literally have a vision, and I believe it's possible, and I believe we can do it, to make child poverty history. But it all starts with one child. Melva is one child. We saw her here today. We broke history here in this room, having a webcast into a village. And whether we sponsor 1 million children or whether we just in this year add several hundred more, the point is we're changing lives. And it's about you making a decision, maybe just one child, maybe just joining the committee, making a contribution. It all starts small, but it's the power when we all put it together that it all adds up. And it just leaves me with this one last thought that Victor Hugo once said, and it's always kind of stuck with me, and that's that there's one thing more powerful than all the armies in the world, and that's an idea whose time has come. And I believe this is an idea whose time has come. Thanks.